Before we introduce our awesome guest, thank you all for being on tonight. Today is February the 16th, which means we are more than halfway through the month, which means you have plenty of time to hit Success Club. And if you're on a cup team that you know you want to win these prizes, I want like all the prizes. I'm going to LA, dang it. Yeah. So you have plenty of time. We have a short month, but you still have a little less than 2 weeks. So invite, and just, do your thing. And I'm not going to waste any more time just, talking about what I want to talk about, because we have a special guest. And let me just brag on him really quick. If you don't follow this guy, you need to. He is incredible. I think he's maxed out friends, so don't send him a friend request. Just click follow button. And he has a very inspiring page. So David McClain. And let me see here. Let's see. Uh-oh. Video. Sorry. All right. If you just got on, if you could mute your background, that would be amazing. Yeah, I can't find it. Where it's coming from.
I want to go to that house. It sounds like fun.
I still can't find it. Okay, maybe it's mine. I'll mute myself in a second. All right. So without further ado, we're going to talk about this awesome guy. In the team page, I did put a picture of you, your before and after. I put a picture.
Oh. I hope it was a good one.
Yeah, it was. A picture of you speaking, I think probably a Super Saturday with an Insanity jacket on. And this guy is a success starter, Success Club 5 All-Star, Beach Body Challenge Grand Prize finalist, Ultimate Health Transformation finalist. I hope I'm saying these things right. Mm-hmm. 3-time monthly Beach Body winner, and audio. And let's see, 158 pounds lost. For real? That's insane. This right here is incredible. 3 years fast food free. I don't know if anybody on this call can say that. I know I can't. So all of that said, I'm going to shut up and let him have the floor. And I know he's got some things to say. So, all right, it's all yours.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to apologize off the bat because I have like this cough that won't go away. So if I cough in the middle of this, I completely apologize. I haven't been sick in a very long time. This is like the first time ever, so it's one of those things where it's just like really annoying. But I'm gonna power through it like I do Insanity Max on day whatever. Right now that I'm on, beginning of month 2, and it's just every time I do it, it gets harder. Maybe because I'm getting older. I don't know. So today, there's a lot of things that I could talk about. A lot of times when I get on calls, I usually talk about my story and kind of like where I came from and how I started. And I'll incorporate some of that, but it takes a really long time to talk about. And rather than boring you guys, I'm just going to jump right into some things that hopefully can help you in your business and what you're doing right now, because I know right now, especially in February, it's so freaking hard to focus when we have holidays left and right, and we have, a 3-day weekend and all of these things happening around us where all of our friends are doing all kinds of other stuff because they clock in and clock out, and with us, we don't clock in and clock out. So on President's Day, not only is that a work day, but that's one of the best days ever to get people involved in what we're doing. So all of that being said, the time that you're taking right now, it's 8 p.m. here at my house. I don't know where it is where you are, but even right now is an opportunity. It's prime time in the week to get somebody involved in what you're doing. So rather than kind of like take you through my whole journey, I kind of want to jump into some things. So usually when I start out, like I said, I talk about my story. And kind of the meat of my story is that, when I was a guy, I've always been Big Dave. That's my name on Facebook. That's my name now. People say, Dave, you lost 158 pounds. Why are you still Big Dave? I'm like, just come meet me. You'll see. I'm still 6'5". I'm still, still a big guy. So I will always be Big Dave, and that's just kind of how I've always been, even since I was, a little kid. But because of that, I've always been, a football player. I've always been the biggest kid of all my friends, the biggest kid in the school, like that kind of, like the jock that played sports. So in high school, being over 300 pounds was, it was a recruitable thing. Like, it was a good thing to be for me because I was a football player. So I was the kid where if I had an extra slice of pizza, if I got the 20-piece nugget, it was because I was a growing boy, not because I had like an eating problem. You know what I mean? So it developed at a very young age that I would eat almost uncontrollably and develop this kind of obsession with food. It became my therapist really early. If I did something well, I would congratulate myself with fast food. If I did something poorly, I would, comfort myself with bad food. My parents both owned a business, so they were gone a lot, and they would leave me that $20 bill on the counter, Unbeknownst to them, my parents, they didn't realize that Domino's Pizza, how bad it actually is, and Pizza Hut and pizza and stuff like that. So my journey started really early. And it's funny, when I used to tell my journey, I used to start it at like my first day of insanity. But what I realized was when I talk to people about that, that's not when your journey starts. Your journey starts much earlier. And so why is that important? Because what I'm going to share with you today is the simple fact that your product is your story. So the more you know it, the further back you can go, the more you can dig, the more deeper you can dig into your story, the better your product is going to be. Because this is something that I say at Super Saturdays that I don't think somebody like Carl Deichler would like me to say, maybe, without explaining it. And this is really important. This is breaking news. This is something you're not going to hear from anybody else. And I'm going to say it because, you know what? I don't care, all right? Here's what I'm going to say. No one, not one person on your timeline, in your email list, on your phone list, on your Twitter page, on your Snapchat, no one wants to buy Shakeology. No one. No one is going to look at a $130 bag of powder and say, that's going to change. Well, depending on what the powder is. Just kidding. No one is going to look at a bag of protein powder and say, that's going to change my life. $130 for that? I'm not paying that. Nobody is going to look at it. So why is Shakeology the most successful meal replacement on planet Earth? It's because of you and what it did for you and how it worked for you and how it changed your life. I'll get back to that in a little bit. So keep that in mind when I talk about my story and when I go back. So, high school, I'm a 330-pound offensive lineman, 5-star recruit, getting recruited by colleges all over the place. My dream was to play in the NFL. And that was pretty much it. There was no backup plan. I'm one of the best players in the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's a big football state, getting recruited by getting scholarship offers. I'm playing the NFL. It's just, there's no other way about it. And that's what I was groomed to do, right? So I break my leg senior year. And the summer before senior year. So I go through this rehab. It's like 6-8 months before I could even put weight on my leg. And I end up gaining around 70 pounds in that time from when I broke my leg to when I started my senior year. That's a problem, especially when you're getting recruited by big schools. They don't want to see you gain that weight, and they don't want to see you hurt and all of that stuff. Thankfully, I was still able to play my senior year, have a good year, and go on to college. So I graduated high school early. I graduated high school in December. And I didn't walk on. I got a scholarship, and I was the first freshman on campus at the school that I went to. Division I football, big-time football, right? So as soon as I step foot on the campus, I'm told by the coach that I can't play football unless I lose 80 pounds. I had done everything I could to graduate high school early to start my freshman year, which is basically what was promised to me, when I was getting recruited. Unbeknownst to me, they can pretty much say whatever they want when they recruit you. As soon as you sign that letter, everything can change, And so if any of you guys have kids that are getting recruited, keep that in mind. No, but seriously. But it was true. I needed to lose weight. And I needed to lose around 80 pounds. So me being a guy that is an eternal yes man that's like, look, this is my dream. Football is my dream. When I come to this college, I'm basically majoring in football because I know that what I want to do with my life is playing the NFL. So the coach tells me 80 pounds, I say, okay. And remember, I graduated high school in December. When I came back from my prom in May, I had lost 100 pounds in 5 months. The only problem was I did it the wrong way. I starved myself. I barely drank water. I drank pretty much only coffee. You know, I had maybe one meal a day. It was like chicken and rice. I would sit in the sauna for hours. I would work out for hours. Also, that number on the scale could go down. And, you know, my coaches didn't know what I was doing behind closed doors. They didn't really know what I was eating or what I wasn't eating, what I was drinking or what I wasn't drinking, how often I was working out. I would often work out in the middle of the night when there was nobody else at the facility. I would do these things kind of behind their back. And all they saw was the number on the scale going down. So they were happy for me. And it didn't occur to them, and it didn't occur to me, that at this time, I was becoming someone that I really wasn't. I was becoming a completely different person. I was developing what some would call anorexia, and eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and depression. You know, I really didn't know why I wasn't eating. You know, when I came home for holidays, I wouldn't eat with my family. I would sit in the other room because I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to gain weight. I didn't want to come back from a holiday break, you know, 0.5 pounds heavier. I actually wanted to come back lighter. You know, I was doing all these things because I was so obsessed with the scale, because the scale was my success at the moment. When I stepped on that scale and it was lower, everybody that mattered to me at the moment was happy. The only person that wasn't happy was me. And my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she saw it. My family saw it. My, you know, soon-to-be in-laws saw it. Nobody wanted to say anything to me because they thought that what I was doing was what I was supposed to do. And like I said, I lost 100 pounds in 5 months. It's not healthy. I did it the wrong way. And in that time, I developed the eating disorders that would plague my life for the rest of my life. And the reason that part of my story is important is because I know we have people that really want to lose weight, and they can lose weight really fast. But what's really important isn't necessarily the weight, isn't necessarily the scale. What's really important is being able to get the body that you want and still be happy and not have to sacrifice so much of the things that make us happy in our life. You know, what I did was I sacrificed everything to lose 100 pounds in 5 months. So let me tell you something. If I had a before and after and I sent it to Beachbody, they would give me $1,000 because of that transformation, because the transformation was crazy. But if they read the story, if they read what I said I had to do it, they'd probably ban me for life. The story is what's important, and the way you do it is what's important. So when I was at that school and I lost that weight, this all led up to the first big moment of my journey, the first big moment of my life, and one of the scariest moments of my life. So we're working out, we're freshmen, we have to do extra workouts. It was a weigh-in day, so I had to, you know, I sat in the sauna for a little extra before the workout so that I could weigh in lower, you know what I mean? And so I worked out. We went out to the field to run, and we had to do 10 sprints. 10 sprints is nothing, right? We're in such good shape. 10 sprints is literally nothing. I remember starting my 9th sprint and waking up in a hospital bed. And when I woke up, I had IVs in both arms. And the doctor looked at me and he said, "Son, you're lucky to be alive. You shouldn't even be here." He said, "I very rarely have I seen an athlete that's been this dehydrated, whose organs are all inflamed and everything in their body is basically shutting down." I was dehydrated to the point that I almost killed myself. And that was the first moment of my life. That was one of the first wake-up calls where I realized, look, I got to take control of my health. I got to take better care of myself. That was step one. Transfer from that school. And in transferring from that school, I had then realized that my dream of playing in the NFL was no longer. I didn't have that dream anymore because, I wasn't at this big D1 school and I wasn't doing these big things. So transferred and I got depressed and I started coping with food. I went back to those things where I used to celebrate with food and cope with bad food. And I started doing it with fast food. I was able to pay for fast food through meal plans. So that's all I was eating. And it got to the point where I was eating fast food so much that it became a $400 a month bill. Within like a 2.5 year span, I spent nearly $12,000 on fast food. It was incredible. And the bill and fast food was taking over my life. And it nearly killed me. And, it got to the point where I gained, 80 pounds while I was playing football at this new school. And then even after that, I gained another 60 pounds. I got married to my wife. The girl that I've been with since high school, I married her. My high school sweetheart. It was incredible. 2011. And I had been really good at avoiding cameras. So I didn't really have a lot of pictures of myself at the time. You can't avoid a camera on your wedding day, right? So when we get our wedding pictures back, I'm looking at these pictures, and it was a moment that I'll never forget. Because as I'm looking at these wedding pictures, I'm realizing just how big I actually am, how much weight I actually gained. Like I said, I've developed this kind of body dysmorphia. I've gained weight, lost weight so many times that I really had no idea what I looked like. And so in looking at these pictures, I realized that, how big I was and how much weight I had gained. And it was so embarrassing that I begged my wife not to have copies of those pictures made, not to have a wedding book, not to have those pictures around in our house. It isn't really until recently that I was able to tell her that we can actually put pictures of us from my wedding up around my house. Because I was so ashamed of what I looked like, so ashamed of that person that I became. And I didn't even know that I became that person, which is the amazing thing. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that, where you don't realize how big you are until somebody takes a picture and you're not at your appropriate angle, And that's what it was. And, there's cameras at every angle at your wedding, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so I saw myself and I said, God, that's just so bad. It's so scary. And even after that moment, even after seeing those pictures and seeing where I was, I still ate fast food. Still went back to those habits. Because those habits were so strong that even though I had the motivation to say, look, I got to change my life, in those moments I was blaming people instead. I was blaming my parents, blaming my coaches, doing all those things that are pretty, that we do. Rather than taking accountability for my life, that's what I was doing. So it was a couple months after I saw those pictures that, like I said, I was still eating fast food. I was still, destroying my body. And you're like you do after a wedding. What do you do after a wedding? So before a wedding, you work out for like 2 weeks, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to look good for my wedding. And then after the wedding, you're like, honeymoon, month off. You know what you do? Well, that's what I did. I took time off. I was enjoying food a lot when I shouldn't have. And I started getting this heartburn. So I was like, okay, I'm spending $50 a month on heartburn medication. Let me go to the doctor and see what this is about. Hadn't been to the doctor in a couple years. Hadn't been on a scale in forever. So I go to the doctor. And, what's the first thing that happens when you go to the doctor? The first thing that happens when you go to the doctor is they ask you for what? Your vitals. Let me take your blood pressure. And I asked her, when she took my blood pressure, I was like, is it good or is it bad? She didn't answer me. And then she says, can you please step on the scale? And it's funny because for me, I've always had this excuse with a scale. I hate scales, first of all, going all the way back to my college days when, the scale ruled my life. I hated scales. And so I had this excuse. Whenever somebody would ask me to step on a scale, I would tell them, I weigh about 355. So don't worry about it. Why did I say 355? Because I knew I was over 350 pounds, but I also knew that the scale goes up to 350 pounds, the conventional scales anyway. So if I said I was like 355, that kind of would make me feel good in a way, and I wouldn't have to get on the scale. So I was like, yeah, I weigh around 355, don't worry about it. And she says to me, this scale goes up to 450 pounds. Talk about an oh shit moment. And not only did now I have to get on a scale, But now I have to face that lie, however big that lie was. I knew I wasn't 355 pounds. I knew I was more than that. But now I have to see how much of a lie that actually was, which makes the lie even harder to tell people because obviously when you know the extent of it. So now I have to get on the scale. So obviously I take off all the clothes that I can. I like let out deep breaths. I try to do like jumping jacks to like get like some sweat out or something. And I step on the scale. And she presses the button and it's reading, and it says error. So she says, this can't be right. So she tells me to get off the scale. She clears it. She gets on the scale herself, and it's reading correctly. So she says, get back on. Let's see if it works. So I got back on, reading, error. It was a 450-pound scale, and I didn't fit on it. I went into the doctor's office. The doctor came in, and he looked me right in the eye, and he said, son, this chart that I have in front of me, the things that you're going to be facing for the rest of your life because of what you've done, this list is something I should be giving to somebody your father's age that's sick. Somebody sick your father's age should be facing these things. You're sitting in front of me at 26 years old, facing diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, chronic heartburn, acid reflux. You're facing all of these things and you're 26 years old. And it was that he said the one thing to me that kind of stuck with me forever. He said, son, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this before, but if you keep this lifestyle up, you will not see your 30th birthday. That's something that you hear, and in that moment you hear it, but you can't comprehend it because it's not something you were ever expecting to hear. So I left the doctor's office, I sat in my car, and I was sobbing. And I was thinking about the person that meant the most to me in this world, and that was my wife. I had just married her a few months before. And now I have to go home and tell her that she's going to be a widow before her 29th birthday. How can I do that? How could I have done that to her, her family, myself? So immediately, what did I do? I started trying to blame people. I started to try and blame my parents for, letting me have Domino's pizza when I was younger. And I started trying to blame those coaches who made me lose all that weight and clapped every time I lost weight, even though I was doing it the wrong way. And blaming, all these other things, all these circumstances in my life. My grandfather had diabetes. That's why I have diabetes. All of these things. And all of a sudden, finally, something in my head just told me to shut up and get to work. And it's funny, even after that moment, I went back to fast food. And it wasn't until New Year's Eve, something as simple as New Year's Eve, that changed me and made me say, you know what? I need to do something. I need to kickstart this journey. What's important about that is you as a coach, you're going to have a moment with one of your challengers. And it's going to feel like the most profound moment you've ever had with anybody. It's going to be their aha moment. They're going to say, I am reborn. My life has changed. We are doing this. And they're going to still go back to those old habits because they're so hard to break. Those old habits are so hard to break. So just remember that even if they do go back, right? Even if they do go back after they had that profound moment like I had, which I was lucky to have that moment. You know how many people wish they got that moment, a doctor telling them straight to their face, you're not going to see 30 if you don't change your life? There are a lot of people that don't get that opportunity. A lot of times when they go to the doctor, it's, this is how long you have to live. I'm sorry. This cancer, this diabetes, this debilitation, this whatever it is that happened to you, this is how long you get. Enjoy it. You know what I mean? So a lot of people have that. I was lucky to have a doctor to say, if you don't change, you will not see 30. I had that moment and I still went back. So don't lose hope. Even if you have a profound moment, don't lose hope in your challenges. It's really important. So New Year's Eve rolled around and that's my wedding anniversary. And I'm like, you know what? I was looking at my wedding pictures again. I'm like, this is it. I'm done. I'm done with fast food. So on January 1st, 2013, I quit fast food. I checked it out today, 1,140 days without fast food. That's what today is. So I hit day 1,000 recently. Well, not recently, 140 days ago. Hit day 1,000. That was really cool. And I'm still going strong. And it's not something like right now. People say, how do you stay away from fast food? Well, it's just not an option anymore. It'd be the same as like eating this water bottle. You know, this is basically a chicken nugget to me. It's just not food. You know, and it took that goal of I'm not eating it ever again. I'm not eating it 5 days a week and eating it Saturday, Sunday, or anything like that. I'm just done eating it, right? And if I can do it for 1,140 days, then you can do it for 1,140 days, because we aren't any different here. So that's something that I accomplished, you know, through my journey. And so that was my first goal. My second goal was starting Beachbody. So I started Beachbody in March. And the reason I started Beachbody was because I was following Shaun T and his on Facebook, because I had actually bought Insanity in 2011 at like 3 o'clock in the morning when I was shoving a DiGiorno in my face and I was drunk, right? And it was 3 easy payments of $39.95, and I was like, hell yeah, I can do that. And so I did that, and I got my Insanity, and I did one workout, and I was like, I can't do that. So I put it on the shelf, and it collected dust for a couple of years. And then finally, Shaun T comes on my timeline in March and says, hey, guys, we're doing this birthday challenge. My birthday's in May, so we're going to do a birthday challenge. It's going to end on my birthday. The cool thing about this challenge is one lucky person at the end of the challenge is going to get to work out with me. I'm going to fly to your hometown. I'm going to work out with you, and we're going to, you know, and it's all going to be filmed. It's going to be really cool. And I heard that, and I'm like, hell yeah. Shaun T's coming to my hometown. We're going to be boys. We're going to be working out together. We're going to get abs. Then he's going to fly me, get me a job at Beachbody, and we're going to be like best friends forever. It's just going to be fantastic. So that's what I thought, right? So I break out my Insanity, and I start doing it. And on day one, I'm like, you know what? I have tried Insanity. I failed. You know, but this time has to be different. So, and this is important for the coaching side of things, because this is really when I started as a coach. Realistically, when I became a coach was on this first day, but I wasn't a coach. And honestly, I didn't even know what a coach was. So day one, I get on my timeline and I say, hi, everyone on my timeline. At the time I had like 800, 900 friends. I said, hi, 800, 900 friends. I'm doing Insanity. And here's what I want you to do for me. Every single day, I'm going to post a picture of my workout, and I'm going to post a picture of my, you know, healthy meals. And if I don't do that, I want you to call me, text me, message me, do anything you can to get my attention and tell me, hey, Dave, get your stuff together because you need to be doing this. And I gave my friends the opportunity to hold me accountable. You know how happy they were about that? They were elated about that. They get a chance to yell at me because I told them to, right? So I had all these people say, look, yeah, I told him, I'm like, look, hold me accountable because I'm going to do this program. I'm going to work out with Shaun T. I'm going to become his best friend. And then me and him are going to start a TV show together. And we're going to become millionaires. That's just what's happening, right? Because that's what I thought was going to happen, right? So I start. And every single day, I posted about my meal and my workout. And maybe something motivational that I thought about that day or something that I read that day. Whatever it was, just posting about it. And by the time I was done, the 63 days, I had gained around 1,000 Facebook friends just from people sharing my stuff, talking about what I was doing, seeing my results, how much my body was changing because of Insanity. You know, I was meal prepping. I was posting my meals, all this cool stuff that I was doing and just posting it and just putting it out there, right? So I was doing that. And so people started paying attention. They started getting interested in what I was doing. And I was really excited about that. In fact, I was more excited about that than I was my results. So I get on the scale on my final day. I didn't weigh myself the entire 63 days. I get on the scale, and I looked at it. I looked at the number. I was like, oh, my God. I lost 55 pounds in 63 days, right? Like, this is incredible. This is awesome. You know, I wasn't even drinking Shakeology, too, and I still got those results, which was amazing. And so... And at the time, I didn't want to drink Shakeology because it was a scam. It was a $130 bag of protein powder to me, right? So I get those results, and I see them on the scale, and I'm like, and you think I'd be really excited about how my body's changed and how much weight I've lost. And what I was really excited about was I'm working out with Shaun T. He's coming to my hometown. We're going to work out in the basement. We're going to be boys, right? That's what I was excited about. So I submit my results. Everybody submits their results. Sean T, a couple days later, gets on his Facebook and says, guys, we killed it. You guys had amazing results. This was such a cool birthday challenge. I'm really excited because tomorrow we are picking the winner, and the winner will be announced and chosen at random. The winner will be chosen at random. Needless to say, I was pretty upset with Beachbody at that moment. So I was so upset. Honestly, I was so upset that I went back 63 days in Sean T's Facebook to check the rules of his contest that he was putting on. And guess what? It said it on there. It said, at the end of the birthday challenge, a winner will be chosen at random, and I'll fly out to their place and work out with them, blah, blah, blah. And to this day, so I was really pissed about that, right? But to this day, that is the most important sentence that I forgot to read in my entire life. Because had I read that sentence, I would not have taken the challenge, and I would not be talking to you right now about Beachbody stuff, because I would have had no interest in it, right? So thankfully, I forgot to read that. Now, so he chooses the winner, right? And I'm like still excited. I'm like, okay. And he gets ready to announce the winner, and I didn't win. Didn't win. You know who won? Some 100-pound girl in Topeka, Kansas, who I don't even know what she did with the results, all right? I'm still bitter. It should have been me. But long story short, even though that was still long, that's how my Beachbody journey started. So I get a call from this lady. I don't know who she is. And she's messaging me on Facebook and calling me and saying, look, I saw your results. They were awesome. By the way, I'm your Beachbody coach. And I'm like, I don't know what a Beachbody coach is. And after about a month of trying to get me to drink Shakeology, she finally was like, look, you don't have a choice. And I was like, you know what? Let me check your stuff out. So I checked out her page. Her name's Jacqueline Smith. She's my Beachbody coach. Checked out her page. And it was so cool to see what she did, because what she was doing was exactly what I was doing, the first 2 months of my journey. What's really cool about the first 2 months of my journey and how that has helped me right now as a coach is that I was most successful as a Beachbody coach when I wasn't a coach. And let me tell you how. When I signed up as a coach on my first day as a coach, I hit Success Club 10. My first day as a coach. And why did I hit that? Because there were so many people chomping at the bit to figure out what was going on, how I was losing this weight. I was talking to them about insanity, telling them, you should probably do insanity. And they didn't know where to get it. They didn't know any coaches or anything. And it wasn't until I became a coach and put that message out there, hey guys, here's my before, here's my after. I just did insanity. This is what happened. All right? You guys can follow my journey. You can scroll back the past 63 days and look at what I did. And look at how I transformed my body. And look at how this program worked. If you're interested in it, let me know. I can get you a deal on a challenge pack, and we can get started. Success Club 10 on the first day. My first 2 months as a coach, I garnered 77 Success Club points. I was a Success Club starter. I did all of those things, and that was really cool. But what was amazing about those first couple months with me as a coach is I wasn't successful because of, posting about sales and posting about challenge packs and everything like that, because honestly, I didn't even know what those things were. I was successful because when I was just talking about my journey, when I was just bringing people along, talking about the good things that were happening, talking about how much I hated Sean T, on day 36, talking about those things, people were interested. And because they knew I wasn't selling anything, they knew I wasn't trying to swindle them or take advantage of them, then they became interested. Like I said, 1,000 people. And some of them were coaches. Some of them might have been some of you. And so they saw that, they saw my product, right? They had seen insanity before. They had seen Shakeology before, but they had never seen results like mine. And even if they did see results like mine, they didn't know the person that had those results, right? So this brings me to the most important thing that we're going to talk about today, and that I'm going to help you understand. Like I said in the beginning, nobody wants to buy Shakeology. No one. So what do they want to buy? They want to buy that 365-day transformation that you have from Shakeology, because they know you. These people on your timeline aren't strangers. These people on your email list at work, they aren't strangers. They see transformations every single day on their timeline. But what separates those transformations, and the ones they see in magazines and the ones they see on TV, even in our infomercials, what separates you from them is they know who you are. They saw you when you were when you were 20 pounds heavier and depressed. They knew you back then, and now they know you now. So what's so important is, you guys heard me just talk about my story, right? You heard how passionate I was about my story, and how, guess what? That's probably like the 9,000th time I've told that story, and it's kind of boring telling that story to me, and I even kind of brought it down a little bit. But the fact that I'm able to still express my story with the passion that I have, I do that, and that's so important to be able to do that, because that is your product. That is your business. I'm sorry to say, none of you work for Beachbody. None of you. If somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? And you say, I work for Beachbody, you don't. And you know what? If you do, if you have that mindset, then you're not going to be as successful as you can be. You work for you. This is your journey. It just so happens that you used Beachbody to get the transformation that you got. And so because you know it works, that's how you're going to help people get their results. This is your business. You are the product. It's funny, when coaches come to me and they ask me, I'm just not successful. I'm not having the success that I want to have in this business. Can you help me out? The first thing I do is I go on their timeline and I see what they're posting. And 99% of the time, when I go on their timeline, what they're posting is what Beachbody posted, or what their coach posted, or somebody else's picture, or somebody else's content. They aren't developing their own content. And when you don't develop your own content, then you don't have your own business. It's funny. When you're going down a highway and you see a billboard that catches your eye, whatever it is, maybe it's a big red billboard with all kinds of colors and whatever, and you're like, wow, look at that billboard. The first time you see it, it catches your eye and you pay attention to it. The second time you see it, you may look at it again. The fifth time you see it, you're not looking at that billboard anymore. So if you're the fifth person to post a picture on somebody's timeline, right, and somebody's scrolling, they're just going to scroll right past yours. And you have to hope that maybe yours is the one they click on. Rather than doing that, if you can develop your own content and become your own boss and not rely on anybody else's content, if you can post your own stuff, that's where you're going to be successful. And that's where you're going to catch people's eye. Post your transformation. Maybe even post a friend's transformation, but you express their story. Post your own videos, your own motivational videos if you can, your videos about your story. Post your stuff, because in the end, you are the product, right? Nobody's going to spend $120 on a workout DVD set. They just don't want to do that when they can go to the Planet Fitness for $10 a month. But why do they do it? Why is insanity and size and hammer and chisel some of the most successful program, any kind of program, any kind of workout program? Why are they the most successful? Because they see people like you and they see your results. So it's really important to understand that. Don't be a billboard. Okay, what month is it? February. For the entire month of March, do not post anything, do not share anything that somebody else posted. For the entire month of March, that should be your goal. Develop your own content. Get the apps on your phone. Unfortunately, I'm using my phone to talk to you guys right now, but I would show you on my phone. I have about 5 apps that make all my pictures, all the wording, the font, the graphics, the filters, all of that stuff. It's all done on my phone. Videos, all edited on my phone. Doesn't cost any money. Maybe it cost me like $5 for 10 apps, whatever it is. So do that. Make your own stuff. Develop your own content. And if you don't think you're smart enough to do it, then listen to smart people, listen to podcasts, read books, see what they have to say, and put it in your own words and put it on your timeline. Right? I went to Summit, and if you haven't been to Summit, go to Summit. That's another tip. Go to Summit, because Summit is where you go to realize that these people in this business and this company that you are a part of is the best company in the world, right? You get to meet all these people and, amazing people that are just starting, people that have been doing it forever. So I went to Summit and I'm talking to this guy. And, you know, I'm talking to him and I'm like, man, you know, you're a great guy. You know, how long have you been doing it? He's like, you know, 5 years. And he's telling me all about, you know, his journey, and I'm telling him about mine. And our journeys are really similar. And, you know, I shake his hand and I leave. And I go on Facebook to kind of look him up. And when I look him up, I'm like, wait a minute. Me and him were so similar. We had the same, pretty similar stories. You know, his was unique, mine was unique, but we had, you know, we both have gone through a Beachbody journey. But there's something that's separating us. And that's the fact that he's driving a brand new Corvette and I'm not. He's a Beachbody millionaire. It was incredible. And it was in that moment that, you know, I could have said, oh, why does he get to do that? Rather, I said, oh my God, I can do this. I can become a Beachbody millionaire. I just met one. The guy was just like me. And he was a great guy. I'm really happy to meet him. And we were just talking to each other. I didn't even know who he was at the time. So it was really cool to see what's possible at Summit. So I highly recommend you go to Summit. So while at Summit, because I was a Beachbody finalist, I got to do a lot of things that, you know, at the time I think I was an Emerald or Diamond coach. I got to do a lot of things that Diamond coaches don't get to do, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, if you're pushing, push to like 1-star, 2-star, 5-star, push to all those because pretty sweet experience at Summit. So I got to do all these things. So I'm literally meeting millionaires left and right. You know, I think I met around 10 millionaires. And this is something that I talk about when I go to Super Saturdays. The thing that millionaire Beachbody coaches have in common, you know, everybody wants to know, what's the one thing? Is it charisma? Is it, you know, dedication? Is it a passion? Is it a lot of really gullible friends? What is it? And it's funny. The one thing I noticed when I met every Beachbody coach, millionaire Beachbody coach, I should say, the one thing I noticed, every single one of them had abs. They had abs. What does that mean? I don't know. But here's what I do know. All of them are living, breathing embodiments of Beachbody, right? Maybe they had the good genetics to get abs or whatever it is, but they were all ripped, right? They were the product. They knew that that if you're just selling Shakeology, if you're just posting about the sales, if you're just doing that, then rather than being a coach, you're a distributor, right? And nobody wants to be a distributor. You have to be a coach. So you have to be a living, breathing embodiment of Beachbody. So if you have, like, your success that happens here is going to directly correlate to the success you have in your business. So that's what I noticed as a millionaire Beachbody coach. The other thing I noticed was that when I talk to them, and, you know, this is especially, I don't know if any of you guys are in the Northeast, but this is especially important for us because the people in the Northeast, and you know what, around the country, are very stubborn, right? We're a stubborn group of people. And odds are, no matter where you are in the country, you've dealt with a stubborn person once or twice, right? It's normal for people to be stubborn about Beachbody because a lot of times with this pyramid scheme stuff that everybody talks about, you know, somebody in their family has probably been burned, you know, by one of these companies. You know, so when they hear a multi-level marketing Beachbody opportunity, they get skeptical, you know? So what I always tell them is, if you have to force yourself on people, if you have to force yourself to help them understand why Beachbody is valuable, then you need to step back a little bit and figure out, you know, what your focus is and what your focus needs to be. I think with the idea of, with the idea of building teams, getting to Diamond, getting to Star Diamond, with that idea, that's kind of over our head all the time as coaches, right? And that's okay. But what's important is if you want to build that team, if you want to build a great company, if you want to start any kind of company, your company, what you need to focus on is, you know, what makes more sense, right? Me going to a church and having 200 people there and handing out bags of Shakeology and telling every single one of them, look, all of you can work with me with Beachbody, and everybody signs up, right? And then, you know, I don't email anybody. I don't talk to anybody. I just tell them to kind of do their own thing. What's going to happen in that situation? What's going to happen is probably, probably 50 or 60 of them, maybe less, will go on to be successful, lose some weight, and be motivated by what's going on. The rest of them are going to quit, right? When I said I got 77 Success Club points in the beginning, because I got those Success Club points and because I had so many people in the beginning and I really didn't know what I was doing, I lost a lot of those people. I had to go back and like tell those people, hey, I know what I'm doing now. Come back. Let's work together. But I didn't stay connected with those people because I made so much money. I mean, one of my first Beachbody checks was like $700. And I was really excited about that. I'm like, okay, that's just going to happen all the time because, you know, it's home direct and I'm just going to make this money all the time, right? What happened was those checks started dwindling down and down and down. And I realized that was because people were quitting because I wasn't helping them, right? So if you're somebody that's shooting for diamond, for star diamond, and you feel like you're exhausted because you're reaching out to so many people and getting so many no's, I challenge you to do this. Rather than reaching out to people, which is important, but for maybe the month of March, rather than reaching out to people, get all of the people that you have right now, get them together in some way or another. Get them on a Zoom call, get them on a message, something. Get them all together and tell them, look, I have been focusing on my business. I've been trying to grow this business. I've been trying to get new challengers. I've been trying to get new coaches underneath me. That's what I've been trying to do because that's how you're successful in Beachbody. A lot of your challengers don't even know that, right? And just tell them, look, that's what my focus has been on. And I don't want to do that anymore. What I want to do is I want to focus on you. I want to make you better. I want to stop trying to focus on quantity. Stop trying to focus on filling a 20-person challenge group. I want to start focusing on you hitting your goal and tell them that. And don't just tell them that, but do it. Focus on the quality of the coaching that you're giving people because there is no better experience. There is no better feeling than when your challenger hits their goal and they come to you and they say this, hey, I fit in that dress that I wanted to fit in. I went to the cocktail hour, with my work, and that guy that I thought was really cute finally came over to me and said, hey, you're really cute too, right? And they have that moment where that actually probably could change their life, right? But not only that, now the girls at work are talking to your client or your challenger, and they're saying, how are you doing this? And now your challenger is now working for you, getting you referrals because the quality that you give to them. So focus on that quality. If you can get 10 people to hit their goals, there's a really good chance that they're going to post something on their timeline that gets you 10 more people, right? So rather than you having to put in that crazy work and focusing on the wrong things, focusing on the quantity, now you're focusing on quality, and that quality is getting you quantity, right? Through referrals, through other people saying, how the hell did you do that? Well, I did it with, so-and-so. Dave is my coach. He helped me do it, And so say that challenger says, Dave helped me do it. And they say that to like 10 different people. Now what? Now what do you do? Hey, you just gave me 10 people to work with, right? Why aren't they working with you? You've been doing this for 63 days, right? You went through insanity. So why don't you become a coach? Look, there's 10 people right here that have been working with that you sent to me, right? That now I am helping them and gaining more income when that could be you. So now you have yourself a coach. When you focus on quality, then what that actually does is that gets people excited about Beachbody. That gets people excited about what we have to offer. So now you have people that are all in on Beachbody. Whereas if you had a challenge group of 20 people and maybe you only fielded questions, maybe if somebody had a question that came to you or something like that, and then you kind of hoped that like they were paying attention to your timeline or watching the infomercials with the new programs. If that's what you're doing with your challenges, which, be honest, a lot of us do that. I did that for a while. If you kind of expect them to pay attention to your timeline, they're not going to get that quality, and then they're going to quit, or they're going to leave, or they just aren't going to be as excited. Focus on the quality over the quantity, and let your challengers be your sales team. Be your billboards. Your referrals, right? And let them be the ones that bring you the people, because that's what it's all about. Like I said, they're the product. And when you become a coach, they become your product in a way. You know what I mean? It's just like personal trainers. A personal trainer isn't going to make money if none of the people that he works with or she works with lose weight. They just aren't going to make money. Their challengers are their products. So it's really important to understand that and understand what that product actually is. So to finish it off, oh my gosh, almost an hour. I'm sorry. So to finish it off, this is something that's really important. It's something that I just kind of have been talking to my team about. As you can tell, I'm really passionate about Beachbody. If you couldn't tell, then you probably had this call on mute. But you can tell I'm really passionate about Beachbody. But I'm going to tell you right now, something that I'm not passionate about is working out. Not passionate at all about working out. Do I love it? When I'm done, yeah, I love it. And the other thing I'm not passionate about is doing the legwork that comes with being a Beachbody coach. Working. I'm not passionate about working, but I do it, And what's important about that is I think a lot of us, we rely heavily on passion and motivation. Passion and motivation are great, right? It's so awesome when we have them because a lot of things that we don't like to do become a lot easier when you're passionate about it. And 99.9% of the time, your journey began because you were super motivated to do it, super motivated to work out, super motivated to drink Shakeology and get results. When you became a coach, you were super motivated to make money and quit your full-time job. And what happened was, and what happens with almost everybody that quits is they quit when that motivation and that passion goes away. Here's what I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to guarantee it to you, and I guarantee it to every single coach that I talk to and every single challenger that I talk to. Your motivation and your passion is going to go away. It's going to go away at some point or another. You are not going to be 100% motivated to do everything you need to do to get results in a program. You are not going to be 100% passionate about everything you have to do to become a successful Beachbody coach. It's just not going to happen. But guess what? You got to do it anyway. So rather than relying on passion and motivation to fuel your entire journey, rely on discipline, rely on dedication, rely on persistence and consistency. Those are the things that you need in order to do things that you don't want to do every single day. So when you're not passionate about it, when you're not motivated, that's okay. It's going to suck a little more. It's going to be a little bit harder, but you still have to do it. And if you still do it, even when you're not motivated, if you still make those calls, if you still have your team calls, if you still show up to this team call, if you stay on the team call for an hour, even though your coach might have promised you it was going to be 30 minutes, sorry. If you still are on this call, if you still do your workout, even though it's girls' night and your girls are going to happy hour and whatever it is, or it's President's Day, even in those moments, if you're able to push through past the point of no motivation, and you develop that pattern of doing stuff that's really hard, even though you don't want to do it, if you can do that, that's where success comes. And just know that sometimes you're not going to be motivated and you're not going to be passionate to do this stuff. You're just not, and that's okay. That's going to happen. Be able to push past that. Be able to utilize that discipline and develop that discipline to do the things that you don't want to do, regardless of what it is. If you're able to do that, just like anything in life, if you're able to do that, that's how you're going to be successful, and that's how you're going to be an awesome Beachbody coach. So if you aren't signed up for Summit, sign up for Summit. Obviously be passionate about what you're doing, but understand that sometimes you don't have to be in order to do the work. And, be the product, guys. Don't be a billboard. Do your own thing. Become your own business. Don't be a distributor. Don't be a salesman. Be a coach. That's what this is all about. And last but not least, always remember why you're doing this. Always remember why you're doing this. I didn't become a coach to hit Success Club. I didn't become a coach to become a millionaire. I didn't become a coach to go on a cruise, to go to Nashville, to be treated like a star at Nashville, to win the Beachbody Challenge. I became a coach because of stories like my buddy Dwayne, who his son was on a mission, a Mormon mission, and while his son was away, You know, I worked with him to lose 150 pounds. When his son came back, his dad was waiting there at the airport. Dwayne was waiting there at the airport, and his son walked right past him. Son didn't even recognize him. You know, the last time Dwayne's son saw him, Dwayne was basically on his deathbed at over 400 pounds. And when he came back, you know, when he looked at his dad again, when he looked in Dwayne's eyes, he saw the promise that Dwayne just made to him without saying a word. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here to run circles around my grandkids when you have them and to help raise your family. I'm going to be here forever. That's why I'm a coach. It's being a part of moments like that. Don't ever forget those moments when you don't hit Success Club 1 month. Don't forget that moment that you had with your aunt, with your mom that you helped quit smoking, with the things that you've done in your life. Don't ever forget those moments. If you don't forget those moments and you stay disciplined, then there is no failure. There is no failure. So, 8:58, or it's 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm done. I'm done talking. So thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a real honor, and sorry I went over, but thank you guys. And I don't know if we can do questions if you have any questions, but thank you guys for having me. I hope I gave you something to finish off your month strong.
Yes, absolutely. That was incredible. The end of saying, you're going to lose passion, you're going to lose motivation. Sometimes you're going to stare at the computer screen and have nothing to give people, you feel like. Mm-hmm. You're just saying the dedication, discipline, consistency, all those things, even when you don't want to, that is hardcore. That is it. I mean, that is what will lead you to success. Your story is amazing. You are amazing. And I'm sure everyone on this call got a bazillion nuggets. I'm seeing nods all over the place. So does anybody have anything? I know we're really, we are an hour in, so I'm sure you need to get back to your families, but let's take a quick, I can't talk all of a sudden, group picture. So everybody smile pretty. All right. Awesome. Thank you so very much. And again, if you guys, if you want to follow him and give him lots of support when he posts, that would be awesome. I'm sure he would appreciate that. And absolutely. And I guess that's it for the night. We good?
Yeah. And guys, if you have any other questions, or you think of anything, maybe when you go home and you start going over your notes, I know this was recorded, so if you watch it again, shoot me a message or something, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, really, I mean, like I tell people all the time, this is the coolest part about coaching for me is being able to, see all your faces and see your passion and hopefully provide you with, even though I said, motivation is not really important, providing you with a little bit of motivation to, to push forward today, because Beachbody is so cool and it's so important and it's not some scam. And one of I forget who it was, Greg Plastic posted something the other day, if you think it's a scam, I still get paid. If you think it's fake, I still get paid. In a way, if they think it's a scam, we still help people. There's still people out there that we get to help, in just wording that in a different way. So keep doing what you're doing because it's so, so, so important.
Thank you. All right. Love you guys. And we will catch up on the team page. And thank you so much again, David. We really, really appreciate your time. And I'll be sending you a message in a bit. But great. All right. Have a great
Thanks, guys.
And we'll talk soon.